The janitor they ignored was secretly recording every billionaire in the building.
At exactly 2:13 a.m., inside a billion-dollar skyscraper in New York City, every security camera on the 47th floor suddenly went black. For 7 seconds. Just 7. But during those 7 seconds, someone inside the building disappeared forever. And the only person who saw what truly happened was a janitor pushing a cleaning cart down the hallway. A man nobody respected, nobody noticed, nobody feared. But hidden inside that rusty cleaning cart, beneath the dirty towels and chemical bottles, was something powerful enough to destroy senators, billionaires, judges, and some of the richest men in America. Because for 3 years, the janitor had secretly recorded everything. Every bribe, every threat, every confession, every murder. And tonight, the people at the top finally realized the truth. The quiet janitor they mocked every single day was never there to clean the building. He was there to expose them. But there was one terrifying problem. Marcus Reed was never supposed to leave that building alive. And somewhere deep inside the tower, a billionaire picked up his phone, looked at a leaked recording, and whispered 4 chilling words. Kill the janitor. Now, before we dive deeper, let us know in the comments where you're watching from. We'd love to hear from you, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you never miss any of our upcoming videos. His name was Marcus Reed, 42 years old, quiet, respectful, always working overtime. 3 years earlier, Marcus Reed's name meant something. In newsrooms across America, people lowered their voices when he walked in. Because Marcus didn't chase celebrity gossip. He chased monsters, corrupt politicians, human trafficking rings, corporate cover-ups worth billions. And somehow, he always found proof. Not rumors, not theories, evidence, hidden bank transfers, secret recordings, deleted emails people thought were gone forever. Marcus Reed had destroyed careers that were untouchable, and powerful people hated him for it. But there was one story they warned him to never investigate. The Blackthorn Circle, a private network of billionaires, politicians, tech executives, and media owners. Men so powerful, their names never appeared together publicly. No photos, no interviews, no paper trail. Officially, they didn't even exist. But Marcus found them, and the deeper he dug, the more terrified he became. Because these men weren't just laundering money. They were controlling judges, buying senators, destroying companies, making people disappear. Marcus discovered encrypted files tied to offshore accounts worth over $4 billion. He uncovered private footage of closed-door meetings inside luxury hotels. And one name kept appearing over and over again. Evelyn Voss, the woman the media called the Queen of Wall Street. Beautiful, elegant, untouchable. To the world, she was a self-made billionaire philanthropist. But Marcus discovered something horrifying. Every financial trail, every bribe, every disappearance somehow led back to her. At first, he thought he was exposing corruption, but then people around him started disappearing. A source vanished 2 days before an interview. Another was found dead inside his apartment. Ruled a suicide. Marcus knew it wasn't. Then one night, he received a message from an unknown number. No greeting, no warning, just 6 words. Stop digging if you love your family. Marcus froze, because attached to the message was a photograph of his wife and his daughter, taken only hours earlier, outside their home. That was the moment Marcus realized. This wasn't journalism anymore. It was war. But Marcus Reed made one fatal mistake. He kept digging, and the Blackthorn Circle noticed. The attacks started quietly. His emails stopped working. Bank accounts frozen. Anonymous accusations flooded social media. News channels suddenly called him unstable, conspiracy obsessed, dangerous. Friends stopped answering his calls. Sponsors abandoned him overnight. And then came the final blow. Marcus was arrested live on television. Federal agents stormed his office. Cameras flashing. Reporters screaming questions. The headlines exploded instantly. Famous journalist accused of fabricating evidence. Marcus Reed under criminal investigation. Media hero exposed. America watched his reputation burn in real time. And Evelyn Voss. She stood before cameras in a white suit, pretending to be heartbroken. She destroyed him with a smile. Marcus lost everything. His career, his savings, his home. Even his wife stopped believing him. Because the evidence against him looked real. Manufactured documents, fake transactions, Edited recordings. The Blackthorn Circle didn't just silence people. They erased them. And within months, Marcus Reed disappeared from public life completely. The greatest investigative journalist in America, reduced to cleaning floors inside a Manhattan skyscraper. Invisible, ignored, humiliated, exactly where they wanted him. But what nobody realized was that Marcus Reed had never stopped investigating. Every insult inside that building, every private conversation, every late-night meeting behind locked office doors. Marcus recorded all of it, because the skyscraper he cleaned every night was owned by Blackthorn Holdings, the same empire connected to Evelyn Voss. And Marcus had spent the last 11 months quietly building something. A case, a trap, a weapon powerful enough to destroy every billionaire inside that building. But Marcus knew something terrifying. The moment they discovered the truth, they would kill him. And high above the city, inside the executive penthouse, Evelyn Voss was already beginning to suspect. The janitor was not who he claimed to be. For 3 years, Marcus Reed became a ghost. No interviews, no social media, no public records. It was as if the world had swallowed him whole. But Marcus wasn't hiding. He was hunting. He changed cities constantly. Cheap motels, bus stations, night shifts nobody wanted. Always watching over his shoulder. Always carrying the same worn leather bag. Because inside that bag was the only thing the Blackthorn Circle never found. The original evidence. Encrypted hard drives. Private recordings. Financial documents powerful enough to destroy careers forever. Marcus protected them with his life. Because they were all he had left. And every night, before sleeping, Marcus replayed the final voicemail from his wife. Not to torture himself, but to remember what they took from him. To remember why he could never stop. At first, revenge consumed him. He wanted Evelyn Voss exposed, arrested, destroyed publicly. But then Marcus discovered something even worse. His wife's death had only been one piece of a much larger operation. People connected to the Blackthorn Circle case were disappearing across the country. Journalists, accountants, whistleblowers, anyone who got too close, vanished. And every case ended the same way. Accident, suicide, natural causes. Marcus spent months connecting the dots. And eventually, he uncovered the center of it all. Blackthorn Holdings, a Manhattan skyscraper so powerful, most people believed it was just another investment company. But Marcus knew the truth. The building wasn't an office. It was a fortress, a private headquarters where billionaires made decisions that controlled politicians, banks, media companies, even federal investigations. But Marcus couldn't walk in as himself. Marcus Reed was too recognizable, too dangerous. The moment facial recognition cameras detected him, he'd disappear permanently. So Marcus created someone new. A tired janitor. Quiet. Forgettable. Invisible. He let his beard grow. Dyed his hair gray. Wore thick glasses. Changed the way he walked. The way he spoke. The way he looked people in the eye. And eventually, Blackthorn Holdings hired him. Because powerful people never noticed the man cleaning their mess. That was their weakness. The wealthy ignored anyone beneath them. And Marcus used that arrogance against them. For 11 months, he cleaned executive offices after midnight, emptying trash bins, vacuuming marble floors, polishing glass walls while CEOs discussed crimes only feet away. And slowly, Marcus built his case. Miniature cameras hidden inside cleaning carts, audio recorders beneath conference tables, encrypted uploads sent nightly to secret servers overseas. Every conversation mattered. Every secret mattered. Marcus listened as senators accepted bribes, as CEOs manipulated stock markets, as judges discussed verdicts before trials even began. But one recording changed everything. Because late one stormy night, Marcus overheard Evelyn Voss speaking inside the executive penthouse. And for the first time in 3 years, Marcus heard his wife's name. Marcus froze outside the door, his heartbeat pounding, cleaning cart motionless in the hallway. Then Evelyn Voss laughed softly. The same cold laugh Marcus remembered from television interviews. And she said 5 words that made his blood run cold. She should have kept quiet too. Marcus stopped breathing. Inside the penthouse, glasses clinked. Men laughed casually, as if a woman's death meant nothing. And in that moment, Marcus Reed realized something horrifying. His wife had not been collateral damage. She had been targeted deliberately, ordered, planned. Marcus gripped the mop handle so tightly, his hands trembled. Because after 3 years of searching, he was finally standing few feet away from the people who murdered his wife. But then, the elevator doors behind him opened. Marcus slowly turned, and standing there was building security, watching him, suspicious, because Marcus Reed had been standing outside that penthouse door for far too long. Revenge was the only thing Marcus Reed had left. Not money, not family, not peace, just revenge. And for 3 long years, he buried his anger beneath silence. Every hallway inside the Dominion Tower became part of his investigation. Every polished floor, every elevator ride, every whispered conversation after midnight. Marcus memorized all of it. He knew which senators arrived through the underground garage, which billionaires demanded private elevators, which judges accepted envelopes filled with cash. And most importantly, Marcus learned their routines. Because powerful people are predictable, they become careless when they believe nobody can touch them, especially around the poor, especially around people they consider invisible. That was why Marcus always kept his head down, always spoke softly, always acted tired. The perfect janitor. But behind those quiet eyes, Marcus was building a weapon, hundreds of recordings, thousands of files, enough evidence to destroy governments. And hidden deep inside a rented storage locker beneath Brooklyn, Marcus kept backups of everything. Encrypted hard drives, copies stored under fake names, insurance. Because Marcus knew one thing for certain. If the Blackthorn Circle ever discovered what he had collected, they would kill him instantly. Still, he continued. Because every time fear tried to stop him, he remembered his wife's final phone call, the terror in her voice, the sound of her crying, the black SUV outside their home. And Marcus would keep going. One Friday night, everything changed. Rain hammered against the windows of the Dominion Tower, lightning flashing across Manhattan, the city glowing cold and silver below the clouds. Marcus pushed his cleaning cart quietly toward elevator 47, the executive floor. The forbidden floor. Normally, meetings there lasted only 2 hours. But tonight, the meeting had already gone past midnight, and something felt wrong. The guards outside looked nervous. One executive stormed out sweating heavily. Another was arguing on the phone in whispers. Then Marcus heard a name that made him cold. Naomi Reed. Marcus froze instantly. His daughter. He hadn't heard her name spoken aloud in 3 years. Not since the night his wife died. Slowly, Marcus lowered his mop bucket beside the hallway wall, then pressed a hidden switch beneath the handle. The miniature camera activated. Marcus moved closer carefully. Inside the conference room, voices echoed through the partially opened door. A senator spoke first. She knows too much now. Another voice answered nervously. We should have handled her years ago. Then came the voice Marcus would recognize anywhere. Evelyn Voss. Calm, cold, emotionless. No mistakes this time. Marcus's pulse exploded. Every muscle in his body tightened. Because deep down, he already knew what they were discussing. Naomi, his daughter, was alive, and they were planning something. Marcus carefully removed a tiny audio transmitter from his pocket. He slid it beneath the conference table using the edge of his mop. The voices became clearer instantly. They were politicians' voices. When the girl reaches the airport, our people will intercept her. Marcus stopped breathing. Airport? Where was Naomi? Why had they kept her alive? Then another executive spoke quietly. Does she know Marcus Reed is still alive? Silence. Then Evelyn Voss laughed softly. A terrifying laugh. Controlled. Elegant. Pure evil hiding behind sophistication. She believes her father abandoned her. Marcus nearly collapsed. The words hit harder than bullets. For 3 years, his daughter believed he left her willingly, that he disappeared, that he never came back. Marcus clenched his fists so tightly, his knuckles turned white. Inside the room, Evelyn continued speaking. Fear is more effective when people feel unwanted. The room filled with quiet laughter. Marcus felt rage boiling inside him. Not anger. Rage. The kind that destroys people. But Marcus forced himself to stay calm. Because revenge required patience. And tonight, for the first time in 3 years, Marcus finally had something more powerful than revenge. Hope. Naomi was alive, which meant everything was about to change. But suddenly, the elevator doors behind Marcus opened unexpectedly. Marcus turned slowly. 2 armed security guards stepped out, and standing between them was a man Marcus recognized immediately. Director Alan Graves. The same federal agent who arrested Marcus live on television 3 years earlier. The man who helped destroy his life. Graves stared directly at Marcus. Long. Suspicious. Then his eyes slowly moved downward. To the cleaning cart. To the mop handle. To the blinking red light hidden near Marcus's hand. And in that exact moment, Marcus Reed realized he had just been exposed. Marcus Reed felt his heartbeat stop. Naomi Brooks immediately intercepted them. "Hello, Graves," she said, diverting his attention from Marcus. Marcus had seen this woman for months inside the Dominion Tower. Sharp suits, cold expression, always carrying legal documents sealed in black folders. One of Blackthorn Holdings' most trusted attorneys. At least, that's who everyone believed she was. But the moment she whispered those words, "You need to run. Tonight," while walking away talking with Graves, Marcus understood something immediately. Naomi Brooks knew exactly who he was. Director Alan Graves narrowed his eyes suspiciously again towards Marcus. Naomi Brooks noticed immediately. "He's a janitor, Graves. Not a terrorist," she said. The guards chuckled lightly. But Marcus noticed something strange. Naomi Brooks never once looked directly at him again, as if eye contact itself would expose too much. Then she stepped toward the conference room doors. But just before entering, her fingers brushed against Marcus's cleaning cart. A tiny folded piece of paper slipped beneath the mop bucket unnoticed. Smooth, intentional, professional. Then Naomi Brooks disappeared inside the meeting. The doors shut behind her alongside with Graves. Marcus stood frozen. Marcus waited. 5 seconds. 10. Then quietly, he bent down beside the cleaning cart and unfolded the paper hidden beneath the bucket. 3 words were written on it. "They know everything." Marcus felt ice crawl down his spine. Below the message was an address. Pier 19. Midnight. Marcus immediately destroyed the paper, tore it into tiny pieces, dropped them into dirty mop water. Because inside the Dominion Tower, survival depended on paranoia. Every hallway had cameras. Every office had hidden microphones. Even the janitors were monitored. Marcus pushed the cleaning cart away calmly, pretending nothing had happened. But internally, his mind was racing. Who was Naomi Brooks really? How did she know his identity? And more importantly, why was she helping him? Marcus entered the service elevator alone. The doors closed slowly. Then suddenly, the elevator stopped unexpectedly between floors. The lights flickered once, twice, then darkness. Marcus immediately reached beneath the cart, pulled out a concealed handgun taped underneath the lower shelf. Breathing slowly, listening, a distorted voice crackled through the elevator speaker. An unknown voice. Marcus Reed. Marcus's blood froze. Nobody had called him that name inside the Dominion Tower before. The unknown voice continued. "You should have stayed dead." Then the line disconnected. The elevator jerked violently and began descending rapidly. Too fast. Marcus slammed against the wall. Emergency lights flashing red. The elevator cable screamed above him. Someone was trying to kill him. Now, Marcus dropped to one knee instantly, hands steady despite the chaos. Because investigative journalism had taught him something years ago. Always expect betrayal. The elevator plummeted faster. 30 floors. 25. 20. Marcus spotted the maintenance hatch above. He climbed onto the railing quickly, the elevator shaking violently beneath him. Then, snap, a cable exploded overhead. Marcus jumped upward, grabbing the hatch moments before the elevator car dropped beneath his feet. Screaming metal echoed through the shaft. Then, boom, the elevator crashed deep below. Fire erupted upward through the darkness. Marcus hung from the emergency ladder, breathing heavily, smoke rising around him. And somewhere far above, inside the executive conference room, Evelyn Voss slowly sipped champagne. Not surprised, not worried, because according to security reports, Marcus Reed had just died in an elevator accident. Again, but Marcus was still alive. And now, he finally understood the truth. Someone inside the Dominion Tower was helping him. Someone powerful enough to warn him before the attack. Someone close enough to Evelyn Voss to know everything. And deep down, Marcus feared the answer. Because the closer he looked at Naomi Brooks, the more impossible the truth became to ignore. She had his wife's eyes. Then he walked towards the parking garage, and it fell silent. Cold concrete. Flickering fluorescent lights. Rainwater dripping from overhead pipes. Marcus Reed stood completely still, his chest rising heavily from the sprint down 47 floors. And across from him, Raymond Cole smiled like a man already attending a funeral. Tailored black suit, silver hair perfectly combed, the face of American wealth. Publicly, Raymond Cole was known as a billionaire investor and founder of Blackthorn Holdings. Privately, he was something far worse. The architect behind the Blackthorn Circle, the man powerful enough to make senators kneel. And now, he pointed a gun directly at Marcus Reed's heart. "You should have taken the warning, Marcus," Raymond Cole said. Marcus slowly glanced around the garage. No exits. 2 armed guards near the elevators. Another beside the security gate. Professional formation. No panic. No hesitation. This had been planned carefully. Raymond Cole stepped closer casually, like he was discussing business over dinner. "You were actually impressive for a while. The disguise, the recordings, the janitor routine." He chuckled softly. "But revenge makes people emotional. And emotional people make mistakes." Marcus said nothing, because men like Raymond Cole loved hearing themselves talk. And talking men became careless. "You want to know the funny part?" Raymond tilted his head slightly. "We could have killed you years ago." Marcus's jaw tightened. "But Evelyn Voss convinced us to keep you alive." That name again. Evelyn Voss. Always at the center. Always pulling strings from the shadows. Raymond Cole continued. "She said broken men are more useful than dead ones." Marcus felt rage rising inside him again. But he controlled it. Because rage was exactly what they wanted. "You spent 3 years believing you were hunting us," Raymond said, smiling wider. "While we were studying you." Marcus's eyes narrowed slightly. Something about Raymond's confidence felt wrong. Too relaxed. Too certain. Then Raymond reached into his coat slowly and tossed something onto the hood of Marcus's car. A photograph. Marcus looked down, and his blood turned cold. Naomi Brooks. Blindfolded. Hands restrained. The image looked recent. Very recent. "She became a problem," Raymond said. Marcus stared at the photo silently, his mind racing. Because deep down, he already knew. Naomi Brooks was not just another company lawyer. Too many coincidences. Too many familiar features. The eyes. The voice. The way she looked at him. Then Raymond Cole spoke the words Marcus feared most. "She asked too many questions about her mother." Marcus stopped breathing. Mother. Not wife. Mother. The truth crashed into him instantly. Naomi Brooks. Naomi Reed. His daughter. Alive. Right in front of him this entire time. Working inside the Dominion Tower. Surrounded by the people who murdered her mother. And she never knew who her father truly was. Marcus's hands trembled slightly. Not from fear. From guilt. 3 years. 3 years his daughter believed he abandoned her. 3 years she survived alone inside a nest of monsters. And now, they had her. Raymond Cole noticed the change in Marcus's expression immediately, and smiled. There it is. He stepped closer, gun still raised calmly. The truth finally hurts more than the lies. Then Raymond's face darkened completely. The smile vanished. "Here's what's going to happen next," he said. "You're going to hand over every recording, every backup, every copy." Marcus remained silent. "And then, you're going to disappear permanently." Marcus finally spoke quietly. Cold. Controlled. "If I disappear, everything gets released automatically." For the first time, Raymond Cole's smile faded slightly. Because that answer meant one thing. Marcus had prepared for this. Dead man switches. Encrypted releases. Insurance files. The kind investigative journalists use when exposing powerful people. Raymond Cole studied him carefully now. Not like prey anymore. Like a threat. Then suddenly, a gunshot echoed through the garage. One of the guards collapsed instantly, and Raymond Cole shot at the head. Blood spreading across concrete. Everyone turned sharply, and standing near the garage entrance, holding a smoking pistol with perfectly steady hands, was Naomi Brooks. Rain pouring behind her. Eyes locked directly on Raymond Cole on the floor. No fear. No hesitation. Only fury. Then Naomi Brooks spoke words that shattered the entire night. "You should have killed me too." Marcus stared at Naomi. The flashing red emergency lights reflected in her trembling eyes. Behind them, black SUVs poured into the underground garage one after another. Too many. Way too many. Doors slammed open. Men in black suits stepped out quickly. Armed. Organized. Terrifyingly calm. And in the center of them all, a silver-haired billionaire slowly exited the final SUV. Victor Lang. The real owner of Dominion Tower. The man nobody ever saw publicly. The man whose name appeared in whispers. Never headlines. Marcus's face darkened instantly, because 3 years earlier, Victor Lang had been the final name in Marcus Reed's investigation, the untouchable ghost behind everything. Victor adjusted his expensive gloves slowly, then smiled. Not nervous, not angry, just cold, like a man who had destroyed lives for so long. It no longer meant anything to him. The armed men surrounded Marcus and Naomi completely. No exits, no escape, just concrete walls, echoing footsteps, and death closing in. Then Victor finally spoke. Calm, chilling. You caused a very expensive problem tonight, Marcus. Marcus said nothing. His jaw tightened. 3 years ago, you were smart enough to disappear. You should have stayed gone. Naomi slowly tightened her grip on the gun. Victor noticed immediately and smiled again. Miss Brooks, put the weapon down. You were always too emotional for this business. Naomi's eyes filled with rage. Victor continued. Your sister's death was unfortunate, but necessary. Marcus saw Naomi nearly break. Tears rolled down her face again. But Victor showed no emotion at all, only annoyance, like human lives were numbers on a spreadsheet. Then suddenly, Marcus laughed softly, quiet at first, then louder. Victor's smile faded slightly, and he asked, What's funny? Marcus slowly pulled out the old flip phone again. Its tiny blinking light reflected across the garage. You still don't understand? Victor asked. Understand what? Marcus replied. This was never about escaping. Victor's expression changed, just slightly, the first crack in his confidence. Marcus continued. For 3 years, I cleaned your floors, listened to your conversations, watched you destroy innocent people. And tonight, I made sure the whole world watched too. One of the armed men suddenly checked his phone. His face went pale instantly. Then another phone vibrated. And another. And another. The entire garage filled with notification sounds. News audio. Breaking news tonight. Secret recordings leaked from inside Dominion Tower. Immediately, federal agents prepared emergency arrests. Multiple billionaires connected to corruption, arson, and murder. Victor grabbed one of the phones violently. His calm mask finally shattered. For the first time all night, fear appeared in his eyes. Shut it down, he screamed. Now. But it was too late. The recordings were everywhere. News stations, social media, federal servers, anonymous websites, millions of people watching live. Every confession, every bribe, every murder, everything. And then, Marcus delivered the final blow. There's one more recording, Marcus said. Silence consumed the garage. Victor froze completely. Marcus continued. The recording about my wife. Naomi looked at Marcus in shock. Victor's breathing changed instantly. Tiny, uneasy, dangerous. Marcus continued. 3 years ago, you thought you buried the truth with her. But your men talked too much. Marcus pressed a button on the flip phone. And suddenly, Victor's own voice echoed through the garage speakers, saying, Make the accident look clean. No witnesses. No survivors. The entire garage went silent. Even the armed men looked disturbed. And get rid of Marcus Reed permanently. Naomi slowly looked toward Victor in horror. The empire wasn't collapsing anymore. It was already dead. Then, loud, fast, getting closer. Police, federal agents, news helicopters. The entire city was coming. Victor looked around desperately. His power, his money, his control, all disappearing in real time. Marcus stepped closer slowly. Not afraid anymore. Not running anymore. Marcus continued. You spent your whole life believing nobody could touch you. Victor stared at him silently. Broken. But the people you ignore, Marcus said, are the people who see everything. And somewhere above Dominion Tower, as the first rays of sunrise touched New York City, the most powerful men in America realized something horrifying. The janitor they laughed at had destroyed them all. Marcus reached into his pocket slowly and smiled for the first time in years. They already lost it, he said. Naomi looked confused. Then Marcus held up an old flip phone. 10 minutes ago, every recording was automatically sent to every major news station in America. Inside the SUVs, the powerful men suddenly began checking their phones. Panic spread across their faces because breaking news alerts were exploding everywhere. Billionaires connected to deadly hospital fire. Secret recordings leak online. Federal investigation launches. The empire was collapsing in real time. Victor Lang snatched a phone from one of his men violently. His hands trembled slightly as he watched the live broadcasts. News anchors, federal agents, leaked recordings, confessions. Every secret Dominic Tower buried for years was now exposed to the entire world. Sources confirm leaked recordings directly connect several powerful executives to corruption, arson, bribery, and multiple suspicious deaths. Victor's face slowly changed. The arrogance disappeared, then the confidence, then the control. For the first time in decades, Victor Lang looked afraid. Around him, the billionaires who once laughed together inside the glass conference room were falling apart. One man began screaming into his phone. Another tried deleting files frantically. One older politician collapsed against an SUV, barely breathing, because they all understood the same terrifying truth. The recordings were real, and Marcus Reed had outplayed all of them. Naomi stared at Marcus in disbelief. The quiet janitor everyone ignored had just declared war on the most powerful people in America, and won. Then suddenly, distant sirens, growing louder, closer, closer. Red and blue lights flashed at the entrance of the underground garage. FBI vehicles, police units, federal agents flooding the streets outside Dominion Tower. One of Victor's men stepped backward nervously. Armed man. Sir, we need to leave. Now. But Victor didn't move. He kept staring at Marcus, trying to understand how a janitor, a man they mocked every single day, had destroyed an empire built on fear. Who helped you? He asked, staring at Marcus. Marcus looked directly into his eyes. Calm, unshaken. You did. Victor frowned, confused. Marcus continued. Because powerful men always think invisible people are harmless. Silence consumed the garage. Heavy, dangerous. Then Marcus slowly stepped forward and said, You never noticed the janitor. You never noticed the waitress, the drivers, the cleaners, the people standing quietly beside you every day. Marcus's voice became colder, sharper. But invisible people hear everything. Victor's breathing changed, because deep down, he realized Marcus was right. The empire of Dominion Tower had never been destroyed by politicians, or journalists, or the FBI. It was destroyed by the one man they believed didn't matter. Then Naomi suddenly looked toward the garage entrance. Fear returned to her face instantly. More black SUVs were arriving. Not police, not federal agents. Private security, armed heavily. Then she said, looking at Marcus, They're here to erase everything. Marcus looked toward the incoming vehicles calmly, almost like he expected this, because Marcus Reed had planned for this night for 3 long years. Every backup, every recording, every escape route, every sacrifice. The armed men stepped out quickly, weapons raised. The garage transformed into a battlefield, and standing in the center of it all was Marcus Reed, the janitor they ignored. The man who secretly recorded every billionaire in the building. The man they should have feared from the very beginning. Writing. By sunrise, the story had spread across the entire world. Arrests began within hours. Politicians resigned. Executives disappeared. And for the first time in years, the powerful were finally afraid. Marcus Reed never became rich. Never became famous again. But millions would remember one thing forever. The man they ignored, the janitor they mocked, was the only person brave enough to expose the truth. And sometimes, the most dangerous person in the room is the one nobody notices. As morning sunlight touched the glass windows of Dominion Tower, federal agents stormed the 47th floor. The same room where billionaires once laughed over champagne now stood silent. Empty chairs, half-finished drinks, abandoned phones still vibrating across the conference table. The empire had vanished overnight. News helicopters circled above Manhattan endlessly. Crowds gathered outside the tower. Reporters screamed questions through barricades. Because the leaked recordings kept spreading. Every hour, another secret surfaced. Illegal deals, murder cover-ups, judges accepting bribes, politicians selling classified information. The deeper investigators dug, the darker Dominion Tower became. And at the center of it all, one name appeared over and over again. Victor Lang. The ghost billionaire nobody could ever touch, until Marcus Reed exposed him to the world. But Victor Lang was gone. No private jet, no security convoy, no trace, just disappeared. And somehow, what terrified people even more, 3 days later, a reporter released the final leaked recording. The one Marcus never gave to the news stations publicly. The one he saved until the very end. The recording from 2:13 a.m. The 7 missing seconds when the security cameras inside Dominion Tower went black. Millions watched the footage online, frame by frame. A hidden hallway, emergency lights flashing red, panicked voices echoing through the tower. And then, Victor Lang appeared on screen. Calm, cold, holding a gun. "Find Marcus Reed," he said, "before he leaves this building alive." The internet exploded instantly, because for the first time, the world finally saw the truth Marcus had lived with for 3 years. His wife wasn't an accident. The hospital fire wasn't an accident. None of it was. And suddenly, Marcus Reed became more than a forgotten journalist, more than a janitor. He became proof that powerful people could bleed. But Marcus himself had already disappeared. No interviews, no press conferences, no public appearances, nothing. Some believed he fled the country. Others believed Victor Lang found him first. Conspiracy theories flooded the internet for months. But nobody truly knew where Marcus Reed went, except Naomi Brooks. One rainy evening, weeks after the collapse of Dominion Tower, Naomi received a plain envelope with no return address. Inside was a small flash drive and a handwritten note. "Invisible people change the world every day. Most of the time, nobody notices. Marcus Reed." Naomi smiled through tears, because she finally understood something Marcus learned years ago. The world doesn't fear loud people. It fears patient people, quiet people, the ones who watch silently while everyone else talks. And somewhere, far away from New York City, Marcus Reed watched another breaking news report on a small television. Another billionaire arrested. Another corrupt empire collapsing. Another powerful man begging for mercy. Marcus simply smiled quietly, then disappeared back into the crowd. Invisible again. Just another ordinary man nobody would ever notice. And that was exactly what made him dangerous. If stories like this keep you thinking long after the end, subscribe for more real-life mysteries where one small moment changes everything. And remember, never underestimate a quiet person, because silence doesn't always mean weakness.